Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Holderhek channel. With that Burning Crusade survey that got released by Blizzard a few days ago, it is all but inevitable that we're going to be getting a Burning Crusade Classic, so I play the world's smallest violin to my Classic Plus hopes and dreams. That being said, a lot of great things happened to the Shaman. Both elemental, enhancement, and restoration got massive upgrades in not only talent trees, abilities, and itemization. So I want to talk about all that stuff, including a little bit of arena talk, just to get everybody a little bit hyped for what's about to happen in probably like, what, a year and a half, maybe less? Buckle in, I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff that I remember vaguely, and you're going to tell me why I'm probably wrong, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to love it. Let's go. First thing we're going to talk about is the talent tree. Some of the biggest changes to the hybrid classes specifically came with the talent tree updates. Blizzard finally got their class design together, and they finally made us even more viable and even more sustainable in long-term PvE and less kind of one-trick pony burst classes. It's all fantastic. So the first thing we're going to go over is a basic overview of the enhancement Shaman. We get dual wield. We get an ability at the bottom of the enhancement tree that lets us regen mana, and we get several abilities that allow us to do more magical damage and conserve mana in the enhancement tree. I know, it's crazy. So I'm going to go over what was my basic PvE build, and then I'm going to explain to you like what the new talents do and why they're great. Okay, so we're not going to really be using shields ever in PvE, so you'd still get your maximum 5% mana there, even though that talent is still garbage, whatever. 5% critical strikes, you would get enhancing totems to buff your strength of earth and grace of air. Then we get our first new talent, which is fantastic. Shamanistic focus. After landing a melee critical strike, you enter a focus state. The focus state reduces the mana cost of your next shock spell by 60%. Well, spoiler alert, you are critting all the time. And since you're critting all the time, that means every single shock you throw is going to be at a 60% mana cost reduction. That is incredible. I'm just going to get Ghost Wolf and Lightning Shield here, as that lets us move down the tree. I know that was more points than was needed, but believe it or not, you can throw more points in enhancement and it's fine. We're going to get 5 of 5 Flurry, because Flurry's still amazing. Then they gave us Spirit Weapons. Instead of the joke talent that Parry was, making us spec into an ability that other classes got while leveling, they at least put it into something now that's useful. So we get 30% threat reduction with this talent and Parry. So you know what? That's good. We pull aggro, Parry. But we won't pull aggro because we get 30% threat reduction. You'll probably still pull aggro sometimes. Then, Elemental Weapons doesn't change. Elemental Weapons lets you go into Weapon Mastery, which also doesn't change. But then we get this fantastic talent right here called Mental Quickness. Reduces the mana cost of your instant cast spells by 2% and increases your spell damage and healing by an amount equal to 10% of your attack power. You go 3 of 3 in a Mental Quickness, and that's 30% of your attack power. That's a decent amount of spell power considering how high your attack power is going to be. Then we're going to get the new and improved Storm Strike. Storm Strike now hits with 2 weapons at once. It still does the nature damage increase by 20%, but in the Burning Crusade, Earthshock no longer has a threat mechanic. They don't want shamans to be tanks anymore. Apparently they did at some point, but now they don't. So Earthshock no longer has a threat component. You can spam Earthshock on cooldown. Now with Storm Strike buffing it, it's actually pretty good. Click our dual wield button, then we get our dual wield specialization, giving us an additional 6% hit while dual wielding. This actually caps you at special attack hit cap although your white attacks will still miss fairly often if you don't have any other hit. Then we're going to go into Unleashed Rage. They're like, hey, you know what? Enhancement Shamans are brought to raids because they buff the other melee around them. And instead of putting it in garbage talents like Improved Weapon Totems, which are still garbage talents, and Enhancing Totems, which are like okay talents, they make it to where your critical hits with melee attacks increased all party members' attack power by 10%, last 10 seconds. So as long as there is an Enhancement Shaman in the melee group has 10% increased attack power. That is incredible. Then, Shamanistic Rage reduces all damage taken by 30% and gives your successful melee attacks a chance to regenerate mana equal to 15% of your attack power, lasts 30 seconds. This refills your entire mana bar, if not once, multiple times. It's incredible. Then you're already at 46 points in the enhancement tree. It's really good. You could spend all your points in the enhancement tree and not look like a complete idiot, although you can spend them better other places. We're going to dump the rest into Restoration just like we do in Classic. We're going to get Tidal Focus because we have to. We're going to get Totemic Focus because Totem Twisting is still a thing in the Burning Crusade. In fact, it was more of a thing in the Burning Crusade than it ever was in Classic. So we're going to get Totemic Focus just in case you're forced to do that or want to do that. We're going to get Totemic Mastery to increase our range. And then we're going to get an extra 3% hit from Nature's Guidance. You are then left with one floating talent point that you can put literally anywhere you want. If you want to be a tryhard, you can put it in Improved Weapon Totems. If you want to get more dodge, you can put it in Anticipation. I think that's where I put it. It really doesn't matter. You can also put it in Improved Reincarnation. But that was my basic PvE talent spec for an Enhancement Shaman in the Burning Crusade. This solves our mana issues. This buffs our melee party. You bring Bloodlust to the raid as well. All in all, the Enhancement Shaman is a vastly improved creature. Next, we're going to talk about the elemental talents. This is a quick elemental build that I just threw together. We will go into talking about the different talents that changed and the ones that got improved. I feel like what they did with Elemental, much in the same way that they did with Enhancement, was they gave Elemental Shamans a bunch of different abilities now that increase their longevity in fights. No longer do we have to rely on a myriad of consumes and mana potions just to be able to last as long in a fight as any other caster. And we'll see what they did momentarily. So the first three talents stay the same, but then they changed Elemental Focus to, instead of being a 10% chance to get a free cast, after landing a critical strike with Fire Frost or Nature damage spell, you enter Clear Casting. Clear Casting reduces the mana cost as your next 2 damage spells by 40%. You'll see that's almost exactly like Shamanistic Focus, where that's a melee critical strike to reduce shock spell mana cost by 60%. This reduces all spell mana cost by 40%, all damage spells by 40%. So along the same lines, they're basically saying, okay, these two specs, their biggest problem is constantly running out of mana. Let's make it to where that doesn't happen anymore. So then they also gave Elemental Shamans Unrelenting Storm, regenerate mana equal to 10% of your intellect every 5 seconds. It's basically giving you a fairly large amount of MP5. You could also take 2 points out of this Unrelenting Storm and throw it into Storm's Reach, if you so desire. Call of Thunder, giving you increased lightning spell crit and lightning mastery stay the same. Elemental Fury, of course, giving you 100% spell crit extra damage is still amazing, and you should always take it. Elemental Precision, increasing your chance to hit with all of your damage spells by 6% and reduces your threat by 10%. Very, very nice. And you'd of course always still take Elemental Mastery, a guaranteed 100% crit. I don't know if spell batching worked the same way in the Burning Crusade because I didn't personally play an Elemental Shaman. Maybe I will play an Elemental Shaman in the Burning Crusade. Maybe I want to be a Sith Lord. We'll see. Possibly my favorite talent that I have seen added to the Shaman, even more than Dual Wield, even more than Shamanistic Rage, even more than all the stuff in the enhancement tree. You have Lightning Overload. Gives Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning spells a 20% chance to cast a second similar spell on the same target at no additional cost that causes half damage and no threat. They gave Elemental Shamans Wind Fury. I find that to be the most incredible thing in the world. 20% chance to work 100% of the time and just erase somebody. That's incredible. I absolutely love it. Lightning Overload, just thinking about Lightning Overload makes me want to be an Elemental Shaman. That's just fun, man. And then you have Totem of Wrath, much in the same way Unleashed Rage as an enhancement shaman buffed the melee group and gave you even more reason to bring one to a raid. You have Totem of Wrath. Summons a Totem of Wrath with 5 health at the feet of the caster. The totem increases the chance to hit and critically hit with spells by 3% to all party members if they are within 20 yards. So basically you have a crazy improved Boomkin aura as a random fire totem you can drop. Unfortunately, since it's a fire totem, you know, you can't be doing Fire Nova totem twisting as you would be doing potentially if you were up close as an Elemental Shaman, which I guess you really never would be, but it does kind of take that away from you. You don't really get to use Fire Nova or Searing anymore, but Totem of Wrath, fantastic. AoE group buff, but my god, let's just focus on how cool Lightning Overload is for like 5 more seconds. Spell Wind Fury. Spell Wind Fury. I love it. Then you would just do your regular talents all the way down in Resto. You'd get these, you know, Tidal Focus, Totemic Mastery. We know about all these already. Get your 3% spell hit, and then get an additional 5% crit to hit with your lightning spells. Absolutely incredible. Sounds really, really fun. I am honestly leaning on thinking about being an Elemental Shaman. It sounds fun. It sounds really fun. Now I'm going to quickly talk about Restoration talents. Obviously, Restoration Shaman got a lot of love in Classic WoW, so it's not like we're reinventing the wheel here. However, they did get a lot of cool new, things they can do, or, well, I guess one specific cool new thing they can do, as well as a couple other things that help shore them up. When I built out this Restoration build here, I ended up with 14 extra talent points, because I feel like if you're going to be a Restoration Shaman, it's probably going to work out the exact same way as it does in Classic WoW. You're either going to be a guy who spams Healing Wave, or you're going to be a guy who spams Chain Heal. You're a guy who spams Chain Heal, you obviously don't need improved Healing Wave, nor do you need Healing Way, but you will get improved Chain Heal. So if you're the Chain Heal kind of shaman, then, well, you got 14 extra points to do with whatever you want. So let's just go right down the list here, and we're going to talk about all the cool new things shaman get. So the first one is going to be Focused Mind. It's a PvP talent that goes up to 15% to reduce the duration of silences against the shaman, so that would be a very useful arena talent. We're not going to take that because this is a PvE healing build. Next thing they get is going to be Nature's Guardian, basically an auto fade. When a damaging attack is taken that reduces you below 30% health, you have a 50% chance to heal 10% of your total health and reduce your threat level. So that's pretty decent, but I feel like that's also not exactly a necessary talent, so I didn't spec into it. Then you have your improved Chain Heal, increasing the amount of healed by your Chain Heal by 20%. Hell, you could probably still even use 3-piece 10 Storms for a while considering this. And then we have Nature's Blessing, increases your spell damage and healing by an amount equal to 30% of your intellect. You probably have somewhere around 400 intellect or something, if not more, so that's a decent amount of plus healing. And then the brand new ability Earth Shield. Earth Shield's pretty amazing. Protects the target with an earthen shield, giving a 30% chance of ignoring spell interruption when damaged and causing melee attacks to heal the shielded target for 150. Obviously, that's boosted by plus healing, so that's an incredibly powerful talent, and it's also very useful to help with spell pushback. Now, this is a very basic restoration build. Like I said, you would either go into the chain heal build, or you'd go into the healing wave, healing way, ditch the chain heal, and then you'd have some more points to work with, as well as healing grace if you're worried about threat. One of the other great things that happened to Shaman in the Burning Crusade was we actually got gear that was designed for every spec. So even starting with dungeon sets, this Desolation Battle Gear was a set that I personally used over Tier 4 because I specifically remember Tier 4 not being itemized as well as this dungeon set. So itemization still wasn't exactly fixed, at least in the 2.01 version of the Burning Crusade I played, but you will see it is vastly improved from vanilla / classic WoW. You have gear that has attack power, hit, crit, set bonuses that increase hit, agility, intellect, stamina on the whole set. This is the enhancement. It's also kind of like a hunter set, really, but it doesn't have like a class on it, but this set can be equipped by enhancement shamans, and it's just beautiful itemization for us. And as the tiers go on, the itemization gets a lot better. So it's just something great to look forward to. This is the Tier 4 set for Elemental, and as you can see, you have spell hit, spell damage, restoring a lot of mana per 5. Just itemization for us. It's crazy. Imagine if in classic WoW, even with our scuffed talent trees and scuffed specs and scuffed abilities, if we just had sets that basically allowed us to go into a raid and get upgrades that aren't rings, trinkets, capes, and weapons. Like, imagine if we actually had gear. Wouldn't that be great? Well, guess what? In the Burning Crusade, you get that. Okay, let's talk about shamans in PvP in the Burning Crusade. What that really means is let's talk about shamans in arena in the Burning Crusade. The good news is all specs are viable. The bad news is some specs are more viable than others. So enhancement and elemental, we'll just bring them together, are really brought to arena teams for the same reason. They bring big buffs, they bring competent totem use, they bring off healing, and they bring on-demand burst. The unfortunate reality is, via the nature of the elemental shaman and the nature of the enhancement shaman, elemental shamans just kinda do all those things a little bit better. That's not to say that you can't play an enhancement shaman at a very high level and be successful. You're just gonna have an easier time doing the same thing as elemental. So just understand that as you play your spec and move into arena. And different brackets have different needs too, whether you 2v2, 3v3, or 5v5. Enhancement has a little bit more success in the 2s than it would in the 5s, where Elemental can have success almost anywhere. The real winner of specking for Arena as a Shaman is going to be Restoration. Restoration's incredibly powerful. Knowing who to put your Earth Shield on is big brain stuff, and everyone's always going to want a Restoration Shaman. Maybe less in 2s, but they can still be successful in 2s, but definitely in 3s and 5s. Restoration Shamans are a key member of the team, and they have just such a high skill cap, and it's just so fun to PvP heal in the Burning Crusade. I hope this video was informative, and even more than informative, I hope it was somewhat entertaining. If you guys like this content and want to see more of it, make sure you give me that subscribe, give me that like, let me know what kind of videos you want me to make, and I will make those videos because, believe it or not, a lot of my videos come from your suggestions. If you like the sound of my voice and you want to see more of me, follow me on Twitch at the Holderhek, and if you really like the sound of my voice and you really want to see more of me, subscribe to me on Twitch, because that's paying my bills right now. Neat life, non-essential life. So guys, and 0.4% gals, I hope you have a fantastic day, week, month, year, as hard as that is to even comprehend at this point. Stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Yeah, I saw the announced Classic TBC. I'm sure there's going to be about 15 different videos that are strangely 10 minutes long released about it. Oh my god, did you guys see this, Luke? What do you feel about the Burning Crusade? Did you know in the Burning Crusade, the Crusade was burning, and that's why it was called the Burning Crusade? Yeah, it's weird. You go out and you have this Crusade, and you're kind of on fire, but you're not really on fire because you're actually in space. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Like to subscribe and smash it.